Would you edit your next video if you knew it would stop your channel growing and lose you money? Probably not. But the thing is, this is happening to pretty much every creator and it's keeping them poor. So now I'm going to show you why, what to do about it, and I'm going to give you a solution that means if you do love editing, you can still do it and grow a channel and make insane amounts of money. And some of the smartest creators in the world have started to cotton on to this. So let's begin with why editing is keeping you poor. And it's all to do with what I call 10x and 2x thinking. So let's just say to make money and grow a channel, all you need to do is score 100 points. And to get 10 points, you simply have to put a red jelly bean in a cup. And all the other colors in there will score you too. What do you do to get 100 points faster? Sit there and pick up 50 or just grab 10 red ones?
Oh great, another video where Ed's using jelly beans to describe something. Be more original, man.
No, because I like jelly beans. I get to eat them. On YouTube, there are certain red jelly bean tasks that get you 10 points towards your goal. The problem is most people spend all of their time on the 2x tasks. But then there's this purple jelly bean. This represents editing, and sadly for many, it's a minus 10x task. Why? Well, firstly, because although delicious and very important to make videos, it's not a transferable skill for most people. The 10x tasks on YouTube are the ones that you learn to make better videos, but at the same time, those skills get you results in 5 other places at once. So for example, learning to write, that's a 10x task because you can apply it to sales, email, social media, job descriptions, and making videos. All of the things that actually make you money, so it's a 10x skill. So if you had to pick between the two, logically speaking, you're better off spending your time on that one that gets you the results in the most places, right? And editing is just a distraction from that, which makes it actually damaging to your growth. Now, the second reason it's a minus 10x task is because it takes you so long. Spend a day editing a video and you release one a week, that's almost a working week a month just spent editing. If you could put that time into just the 10x tasks, you would transform your channel and your earnings, and you'd end up with a calendar like mine. Believe it or not, this is my diary, and this thinking got my business past 7 figures. If it looked like this, it would have taken me so much longer to get to this position, I probably wouldn't be in it. So putting it simply, editing takes too long and distracts you from the other things on YouTube, which you need to get very good at for faster growth and income. By the way, I love editing, so it's really hard for me to let that go, but looking back, it did hold my business back, and I can always edit for fun on the weekends as a hobby. Anyway, the next reason editing is keeping YouTubers poor is because of this. So a few years ago, I was getting up at 5 a.m. to write YouTube videos, and then I go to work, and then after that, I'd go back to YouTube. What that meant was my average days were like 12 to 15 hours long, and then on the weekend, I'd catch up. So I was doing like 7 days a week, and this is when things took a bit of a turn for the worse. I'd sit down to edit, and I'd watch the same 10 seconds over and over again, and I'd be watching it thinking, well, something about this doesn't work, but by the time I'd get to the end of the clip, I'd kind of forgotten what happened at the start, so I was just stuck in this loop of getting nothing done for hours. When you have no energy, your productivity and your focus gets destroyed. So even when you do sit down to edit, you're not at your best, meaning everything takes longer, and then worse, this lack of energy impacts your 10x tasks too. So by doing crazy hours, everything gets slower and harder and more stressful. But when I stopped editing, I suddenly had an abundance of time. Energy came back, I was less anxious, and things became more enjoyable. And of course, my business grew so much faster too because I just smashed out red jelly beans every day, where in the past, they've been purple. Which brings us on to the next reason you have to stop editing, and this is probably the thing that most people blame as the reason they need to keep doing it. So the obvious solution here is to find an editor to do the work for you. You've probably worked that out for yourself by now, but it's really hard to find people, right? And they just can't edit like you, can they? And there's just too much feedback, it's frustrating. And I'm just here to say, it's bullshit. There are loads of great editors, but there are not a load of great editors who want to work for people who write crappy job descriptions offering pennies. I was a freelancer for a while, and the average job description you'd see was a giant red flag. So if you tried this and you found it a total nightmare, you need to realize that your job description is a mirror. If you put crap out, that's what's going to come back at you. Then when it comes to working with and training an editor, it's actually pretty simple. Most of you don't need insane editing. What you need is a systematized approach to it. So let me give you an example here. So Greg, who's editing this video right now, hi Greg, recently edited a course for me, had 24 videos in, and he sent them all back in one go, and I left 4 very small comments of feedback on the entire thing. It was a dream. But how do we manage to edit like 10 hours of training to the same level as this video you're watching right now with no issues really at all? Well, we built a system. The goal was to simply make the editing as streamlined as possible and to just stick to the same format and style every video, and it works so well. Now, Greg's very good, but the level of editing we decided on wasn't supposed to challenge him, and it definitely didn't. It was more about being efficient, getting the content out, and making sure we use editing to help people understand these points being made, but not much else. So when you put out a job offer that sounds appealing, and then front load the time into creating a system and a process to follow for every video, you will end up with a video editing factory, and unless you're producing epic challenges or very heavily story-based content, there's a lot of editors out there who can pull together together engaging talking head videos so long as you make the rules and process crystal clear at the start. Now, if you want to build a system like this one, check out the YouTube growth system. There's a link in the comments below. But where do you find these editors? Well, there's actually quite a lot of places. Twitter has a ton of them on. And then there's also Upwork, you'll find great talent lurking. Now, the good ones don't apply to every job they see. So putting the effort into your job description will attract the picky guys who are often the best. Which brings us on to a problem. What if you like editing? What if you don't want to do the hiring? What if you want to be a creator and don't want to have to build a business, but you still want that dream income and diary? Well, last summer, I met Sam Ovens. If you don't know who he is, he's generally considered one of the greatest online business minds of our time. Basically, he said he realized that when he was making content, it was all he thought about. He'd be lying in bed thinking,
oh, I should have said that differently.
And he realized this was distracting him from his 10x tasks, the ones he should have actually been thinking about. So I said to him,
Well, what would you do again if you started now and you wanted to build a following?
He said,
Oh, I'd just partner with a creator and let them do all the content, and then I just focus on building the business around it.
9 months later, Alex Hormozy announced he was partnering with Sam, and that's exactly what he's doing now. But it's not just him. Creator operators are starting to pop up everywhere. These are people who are great at business and can help build products and services and manage the talent so that the creator can just focus on growing the following and doing what they're good at. What that means is the YouTuber only does 10x tasks, which will grow the following and nothing else. And then a creator operator only does their 10x tasks, which make the money. And what do you get when you times 10 times 10? You get 100x. So a partnership like this can be game changing. So if you just want to be a creator, you need to find someone to be a yin to your yang who can take the work off your hands. This is the only real way you can edit and not work crazy hours and make money now. But where do you find one of these guys? Well, I don't actually have a set place for this, but I can tell you what to be on the lookout for. So firstly, they need previous experience growing online businesses. Like, you want to make sure they have made good money. And then secondly, there are a lot of people in the space who just want to milk strangers dry. So what you want to do is make sure their previous products and services have legit testimonials. And then thirdly, you need to make sure you actually get on. Like, don't partner with someone who you think's a dick. It won't work. Just know that right now, this is a very fast growing space. So in the near future, it might actually be much easier to discover them. But assuming you don't partner, when do you hire an editor? Well, there's two arguments to this. The first is as soon as you can afford it. The second is you need to do some editing yourself to learn more about making videos and how to edit, because it's then easier to work with an editor. Now, the way that I systematize my editing workflow to reduce feedback rounds and complete projects really fast means you will need to know how to use editing software a little bit. Now, this all sounds well and good, but for many of you, you're probably not going to be in a position to hire an editor yet. But for me, the most important thing I want to get across in this message is if you've been holding on to editing for a long time, this is the sign you are waiting for to find help. And then for those who are new, this video is just going to help you understand that this is the first thing you outsource when you have some cash. But when you've outsourced it, what do you do with the time to make money faster? Well, you just need to focus on the things that make people money. And this video here will teach you how to do that so you can pay for an editor with ease.